Welcome to the Academic Woman Amplified podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Mazak, tenured full professor, mom of three, and firm believer that the culture of academia needs to change radically. Women are revolutionizing academia within institutions that were not built for us. If you're ready to reject the culture of overwork, kick guilt and overwhelm to the curb, and amplify your voice to make a real impact on your field without breaking down or burning out, you're in the right place. And it all starts with writing. Let's go. What is writing? The definition of writing has come up so many times inside of our Facebook group. Is it just words on the page? Is it more than that? In today's episode, I want to dig into the definition of writing. What does it really mean? And what kind of definition of writing will serve us in order to help us to reach our big academic and career goals? To answer the question, what is writing? I want to share with you an essay that I wrote quite a while ago that I put away and kind of hid on my hard drive and never published. And I thought that in order to really express to you my opinion about what writing is, I could read this essay to you. So I hope you enjoy it. The title is Counting Snails is Writing. What counts as writing? Is writing more than putting words on a page? The simple answer is yes. We spend so much time thinking, I should be writing, as academia pulls at us in 1,000 directions, that we forget all that writing really is. We barely notice that we're doing writing in subtle but necessary ways all the time. Academics love to talk about their pipelines. There's a lot of stress about it, and everyone secretly imagines that everyone else has some kind of magical way to manage their pipeline so that tens of publications flow out the end every year. But maybe we've been thinking about our publication pipelines all wrong. We've definitely been focused on the wrong end. When we plan out our pipelines, what we really need to be asking ourselves is, what are all the things that have to happen before I can put virtual pen to paper? Before worrying about words per day or pomodoros, we need to think about where writing really starts and all the ways it happens before we can ever create new document. The more academics I talk to about writing, the more I realize how varied the activities that make up our writing really are. For a botanist, writing starts with growing plants. For a historian, writing could start with a trip to an archive hidden deep on a Caribbean island. For an anthropologist, it may start with volunteering for a community health organization. For one friend of mine, writing starts with counting snails. Her research identifies new species of snails in dirt samples, and no writing would happen without sifting the dirt and counting the snails. For another friend, writing starts with a performance. For her, blocking a scene is writing. Choreographing movement is writing. It's important to rethink what counts as writing. It helps us to see that we are really writing much more than we think we are. We are making progress by counting snails or growing plants, and progress feels good. To acknowledge that progress, that forward movement in a writing project, helps us cultivate positive feelings about our writing. Creating this positivity around writing is essential if we are to maintain an academic writing practice. There's so much external pressure to publish. Our internal spark to write is regularly stamped out by academia. Pressure to publish or perish sucks all the joy out of writing. What used to be a creative outlet for many of us, think of your first grade self crafting a story in the lined spaces under a colorful crayon-drawn picture, has become this stressful, horrible thing, stripped of all enjoyment and ease. Academic writing may not feel creative in the way that creating a child's story did, but indeed it is a creative act to write and publish academic work. Because writing is creative, it is dangerous. We feel this danger intensely in academia, where we release our carefully crafted work into the world only to have it torn to shreds by reviewer number 2. It hurts to have our writing criticized, and so our writing begins to hurt. It's a dark spiral towards self-doubt. Writing does not respond well to self-doubt. It does not thrive in negativity. It dies under guilt and overwhelm. That is why creating a positive relationship with writing is so important for us as academics. But unlike first grade, these positive feelings don't necessarily happen naturally. We need to deliberately create them. It all starts with the pipeline. Okay, try this exercise. Get out a piece of paper and start at the beginning, the true beginning of your pipeline. Maybe you'll write, get idea, or spark occurs. Then write down all the things that must happen between that moment and starting to write the first draft. For some of you, getting a grant is not optional. That means that the grant process needs to be on this list. For others, external funding is nice, but not absolutely necessary. And that's fine too. The purpose is to articulate your list. Now take a look at your list. All of this is writing. All of this counts. The path to creating positive feelings around your academic writing is full of baby steps and mind tricks, but it is necessary. If every time you open your computer to write, you feel dread, writing will continue to fall to the bottom of your list. But if instead you can work to create feelings of excitement and flow around writing, you will want to do it, and your writing practice will sustain itself. This only happens by careful design. Have you ever had a writing session where you sat down and the words just flowed out? You wrote a whole section and it felt easy. You read it back to yourself and you thought, I'm on fire. Now contrast that with a writing session that felt like slogging through mud. You wrote 9 words and erased 5. You painfully write 5 more words and erase 3. You think, what the heck am I doing here? This is the difference between soaring and slogging. And you definitely want to be soaring. To have a positive relationship with your writing, you need to carefully set up your writing sessions to be more like soaring and less like slogging. Here's how. If you're having a session that hurts, stop. This is where the I have to write every day mentality can backfire. You are destroying your relationship with your writing if your writing session is painful. It is better not to write than to have a session where you slog out words just to avoid breaking the chain. To create positive writing sessions, you need to set yourself up for the kind of focus and flow that maybe you have experienced quite by accident before. I call this your soar state, where you feel uplifted by invisible energy and are held aloft quite without effort. The first step is a little self-awareness. What time of day is best for you? Think of the times when you have the most focus, when you don't have to take breaks and can just keep going. Take a few days and note these times in your calendar. Once you've identified them, your mission is to guard them as your writing times. If you can't do it every day, aim for 2 or 3 days a week. If you can only do an hour at each session, that's totally fine. 3 hours of writing per week during your most energetic times of day are way more valuable than the big blocks of writing time that never come, or the painful, slogged out 500 words a day that you end up cutting anyway. It may take you multiple semesters to set up your schedule to preserve your soar session writing time. That's okay. It's a process, and it's an important process. Now, some of you are thinking, but I never feel energy and drive. I never feel like I'm soaring. And as a mom of 3, I can relate to this one. If you never feel focus, then just write first thing in the working morning. Get to your desk, power up your computer, but do not check email. Do not jump on social media. Don't even check your to-do list. Just write for 1 hour. Again, 2-3 times a week like this will go a long way to creating positive feelings about your writing. And if you can't do 2 or 3 times a week, just do once a week. And if you can't do an hour, just do 30 minutes. Another way to create that soaring feeling is to write with someone. You can do this in person or virtually. Just set the ground rules. Talk for 10 minutes about what you're working on, then be quiet and get writing. You will get energy by being next to other people who are energized. If we are to use our academic work to create the changes we want to see in our fields and in the world, then we need to cultivate this positive relationship with writing. It is essential that writing feels good and that you acknowledge forward movement towards your goals. People need to hear what you have to say, and creating a positive relationship with writing will help you to say it. For these reasons alone, we need to reimagine what counts as writing. Writing is not just words on the page. It is counting snails. Writing is dancing. I hope that essay inspired you to really figure out your pipeline, all the steps right from the beginning spark up until the words are published. That is what you need to intimately know. And all of those steps count as writing. All of that is forward movement. It's progress. If you want to focus on all the words you didn't write while you were outlining or reading or planting plants or counting snails, go ahead, but it's just going to make you feel terrible. Instead, let's flip the script. Let's really look at the positive, the real reason that we're here, which is to express ourselves and get our big ideas into the world. And if we can really cultivate that positive relationship with writing, then that expression is going to happen so much more smoothly for all of us. And that's what I really want for you. I want your writing to feel easeful, right? For there to be ease and joy in it. Is it going to be that way every single moment? Probably not. But could we have more of that? Absolutely, we could. Now, if you're looking for a way to launch into 2021 with more soaring and less slogging, I invite you to check out our $27 a month membership program called Momentum. Momentum is a co-writing community. What we do in that program is we get together and we write. There are coach-led writing times where we all get on Zoom together. We put our goals in the chat. We were muted the whole time, so there's no distracting noise, and we get to work. And at the end, we report what we accomplished. And that way, you actually kind of feed off the energy and momentum of the other people in the group. We also do some really great community building activities and mindset activities to help you to have more soaring and less slogging. And those include our Monday mindset calls. During Monday Mindset, it's a half an hour call where our coaches lead you through some prompts that you get to answer like in community with the other people in the program. And those prompts are going to help you to kind of just get your head straight for the week and focus on what you need to do. In addition, everybody who joins Momentum gets access to our client-only trainings. So about every 4 to 6 weeks, we'll hold an all-client training or event. And that means that everybody who's in any of our programs can come to that training. Sometimes they're planning sessions. Sometimes they're writing sprints. We do all kinds of different workshops and things. I lead some of them. Our coaches lead some of them. And basically, you can get access to that for just $27 a month. You can join anytime and then cancel anytime. There's no minimum length of stay inside the program, so you can try it. And then as long as you cancel a week before your billing comes due, then it just has only cost you $27 to see if you can kind of help build momentum in yourself and with others in the program. Momentum also teaches you goal setting. We have a goal tracker that we use collectively together so that you can get inspired by other people meeting their goals and you can feel happy when you meet your goals. We have shout outs weekly where people in the group shout out the other members who inspired them. And it really is a lovely community that is all about helping you soar. So if you want to join, just go to the link in the description here and you can read all about what's included in the program and sign up anytime. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time loving on yourself and your writing by listening to this episode. If you're feeling pulled in 1,000 directions and can't seem to carve out time to write, I've got a solution for you. Go grab my 10 ways to make time to write cheat sheet. Just go to kathymazak.com/podcast-time to learn my best quick tips for putting writing at the center of your career where it belongs. We'll link that up in the show notes. Just go to kathymazak.com/podcast-time.